Umar Ayub standing there, Sheikh Afzal Marwat, or 10 others standing. Everybody has to speak after Mr. Bahar speaks. Why? We have not seen that happening when Mr. Imran Khan was the chairman doing. Now, interestingly, law is very silent. It since it talks about each election cycle, so one of the interpretation can be that since in general election, because PTI at the helm of PTI is there is no second tier leadership, unfortunately. On the helm is all lawyers.
Hello and welcome to Dawn News English. I'm Nadia Naqvi with you. By-elections in Pakistan on almost 21 different constituencies just took place, and we see that Pakistan Muslim League Noon has emerged as victorious. Again, we're seeing that the opposition party, especially Sunni Ittihad Council, that's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf independent candidates who contested the elections and are now part of the Sunni Ittihad Council in the parliament, have been once again complaining about having a rigged election, just like what they had been complaining for the 8th of Feb when the general elections took place. Today we talk about why is it that Tehreek-e-Insaf did not opt to contest on their own symbol, because they have already conducted once again the intra-party elections. Was it the election commission not giving their symbol back, or was it that the party itself did not push for it? We have with us our electoral expert Fawzia Yazdani. Thank you so much for joining us. Fawzia, so what is it? Why is the election commission being so difficult on Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf? Because the latest we know is that despite the fact that they have conducted yet another intra-party elections after having lost their party symbol back, they have been called once again on the 30th of this month to clarify on few aspects until their intra-party election is being accepted by the Election Commission of Pakistan.
Thank you very much, Nadia. What I would like to say is that yes, much that Election Commission of Pakistan this time, and you know it, we've been talking it many times, was institutionally much more strengthened to conduct a much fairer election, and unfortunately, these elections got tainted more than ever. For the reason, of course, one of the reason is because it was hyped at social media and media as well. But then we have a history where all elections have always had this shadow of being rigged and tainted. When it comes to PTIs, inter-party elections, I am really surprised. I don't know who is advising them and why they have taken this as we say that on a second burner. First, we let's not forget the history. First, when they had time for 2 years in COVID to do it, it was their government. They did not do it despite repeated reminders. Okay, done. They lost their election symbol. You know, the Election Act is very clear that for each election cycle, you have to reapply and get your election symbol, much that it remains your party symbol. I was actually watching that why for these by-elections they did not apply or did not push enough. Now, interestingly, law is very silent. It since it talks about each election cycle, so one of the interpretation can be that since in general election, they were denied of their election symbol, and this is by-election of the same, so it would be clubbed together. So why should we even ask Election Commission to do it? But that should be response of the Election Commission of Pakistan. If I am PTI, I should have pushed myself on 4th of March. They deposited the papers for the inter-party election, and after that there was nothing on media. I checked with my sources in Election Commission as well. There was no one pushed in Election Commission, whereas from 9th February on the 10th we knew that how many seats will be vacant, when elections would be, because it's a time-bound activity. And a party which has been pushed to the wall does not do anything to get its symbol back. This is very, very strange. And what happens today is they're asking for more papers. So that means either the papers have not been submitted in compliance, or they're not taking, PTI is not taking it as a priority.
So maybe either the party was not educated enough to that, they can do this for by-elections, or probably, they know that their papers are not complete. Because I clearly remember you telling us that there is no difference between all the political parties in conducting the elections. PTI did not do anything different. The only thing different was that they did not, somehow fill those files as you
tick
put
the
it.
box properly or made the. You see, Nadia, I'm very surprised on that because PTI, at the helm of PTI, there is no second tier leadership, unfortunately. On the helm is all lawyers. There are good names, Senator Ali Zafar, Salman Raja, Barrister Gohar himself. But then why these, or Hamid Ali Khan, why these intelligent, legal, astute mind could not put their head together? Let's push it there. When I am pushed to the wall, then I should kind of leverage every lacuna that is available, make more hue and cry on it. So I cannot take this thing that they were not informed. I think they did not prioritize it. They should have pushed more for it, made a more better case for it, and one cannot deny that yes, PTI was and is being pushed to the wall. But the point is, who is calling the shots here? If there is a chairman, irrespective of what's the name of the chairman, is that chairman calling the shot? If he holds the presser, you have to see that, there's Umar Ayub standing there, Sheikh Afzal Marwat, or 10 others standing. Everybody has to speak after Mr. Gohar speaks. Why? We have not seen that happening when Mr. Imran Khan was the chairman doing, or any other chairman, let's say Shehbaz Sharif or Zardari, or Mr. Bilawal or Mariam, once they make a statement in a presser, no one else is allowed to, kind of jump in.
Yes, because so when the chairman has spoken, it means that that's the party policy. So let's suppose very quickly on this before we move to the by-elections that just were conducted in Pakistan. Let's suppose they had pushed for the symbol, and let's suppose they had gotten their bat symbol back. So then, and they had also won some sort of seats, let's say, in the by-elections. Then all those members who are now part of the Sunni Ittihad Council could they announce later that yes, we're going back to Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, or there would be some issue?
No, there won't be. I think that could be one of the reasons why they did not push, and this is my assumption only, because had they got their symbol back, you see, as I said, law is silent, so they could have pushed for it, got their symbol back, because law was in a gray there. So had they tried, they might have, since they did. And if they had and won some seats, I would have think, because last by-election of 2022 was an indicator enough. Otherwise, by-elections are won by the sitting government. That was the only time when by-elections were won by the opposition. So they could have created the same wave that, see, we got our symbol back, now our voter would come out. So they didn't. One of the reasons could be that they could not have the Sunni Ittihad Council people come in here, because those people, those members who are in the parliament, have resigned from PTI and has officially joined as Sunni Ittihad Council. For them to come back to PTI is a floor crossing, so they would have to resign and be re-elected.
That would have been very tough. Okay, now let's come to the by-elections that were conducted, last week, Sunday. So what is the difference now that you can tell us between the elections of 8th of Feb and those of the April 21st by-elections?
I think it's very strange for me to see that the PTI voter turnout, or their candidate, let me put it that way, that their candidate did not get votes enough. Because when we see 8th of Feb, irrespective, I'm not talking about that was it rigged or not rigged, their candidate were giving a very, very tough margin. So what happened now? How come this could be that their voter is not out? So colloquially, it's been said, since they knew it would be rigged, so voter did not, worry enough. No, I don't buy that. I would say that the voter was little more disillusioned for the reason that there is absence of leadership. There is no one voice coming in. From the party platform for by-election, there was not enough campaign, as we saw for 8th of February, where there was a website, people would know this is my PTI-backed candidate, here is your polling station, you send in your ID card here and all that. And then I think what is happening with Mr. Marwat's statements, Ms. Chandana Gulzar's statement, and even say CM Kipi, Mr. Gandapur, going and meeting at Corps Commander's house. So I think they're saying like, there's nobody, if there's no Imran Khan, everybody is like going in all different directions. So why should I? But I would not disclaim or say that it was not rigged and it was the fairest of fair. No, I would not go there.
Okay, but then there's one more ingredient to it, that they were not allowed to electioneer the way probably
Yeah.
PMLN was enjoying that space, or any other party. Because yes, the 144 that was imposed is for all the parties. Nevertheless, there was no crackdowns, and PTI has been complaining that right before the by-elections, there was a massive crackdown going on in Punjab. I don't know how much that also played a role.
I'm sure definitely it has. But then again, Nadia, we have to kind of see this crackdown or this pushback or this hand tying of PTI was there in 8th February as well. They found an alternate route. They used social media to reach out. This time we did not see that. A. B. Electioneering for by-election is always very low-key, and it's more into corner meetings and public rallies, smaller rallies, because it's a constituency-based thing. So you would hardly see political leadership of a political party doing it. So that was not. So I'm sure their hands were twisted, tied. But why did they not use the option that gave them seats? 92 seats. Even we accept that these are the seats that Sunni Ittihad Council, which is basically PTI seats, has it. It's a substantial number. You have delivered. So why not use it? Why not say and make a hue and cry on it? I have not seen Mr. Gohar screaming. One day Mr. Umar Ayub comes and they say, oh, this was done with us, and the rest of the time you keep on screaming and making ruckus in National Assembly. It doesn't work that way.
Okay, but they have once again, they have been saying that the elections were rigged, and during the day the by-elections were being conducted, the whole day. There was I'm sure you must have gone through it. There was a form that was circulated on the social media, and they said that this was Form 45, and their political agent was forced, or all the political agents of that particular polling station was forced to sign the form. Okay. What is all this, and why is it that the Election Commission did not take any sort of notice of that?
Okay, that's one thing. I would say I also saw that form, and from very credible journalist Twitter handle when I saw that, and I zoomed it and I was like, oops, it's not even Form 45. That was Form 42. And then later those big journalists had to retract it, but by that time no one was interested if it's retracted or not. It was all over TikTok and Twitter. It was Form 42. Form 42 is the one where all polling agents who are supposed to be in that polling station representing a candidate of any party, their name, ID card number, signature and thumbprints are taken to say that this ballot box has been sealed in front of it and is empty. That was Form 42. Two, they said our polling agent was not allowed. Our election agents were not allowed. They're not election, they're polling agents. Election agent has access to Form 47, and he or she is supposed to be in RO's office.
No, but Fawzia, do you remember that the leader of the opposition, Mr. Umar Ayub, did a presser, and he said that Form 45 was being signed before, even the poll was completed. So do they really know that that was Form 42?
I mean, the one that was circulated massively was Form 42. But then again, let me tell you the practice. The presiding officer to complete Form 45 in advance. This time, like in 2018 election, even the candidate's name have to be written with hand and everything. But this time they were printed, but the space was there for polling agent's name, ID card, and signatures to be there. So they have to be handwritten. So most of the time when they do is when they have done the Form 42 and have all the information, while poll takes its process, presiding officer completes the Form 45. So those who had their names on Form 42, mostly the same ones are, retranscribed on Form 45. At times, there are more than one polling agent because one was in the morning and the other comes on evening. If that happens, they change the name. So it's not a new thing for Form 45 to have the name, ID card of a polling agent well in advance. That's a normal process in all elections. But if they were signed in advance, then we have an issue. But then we have seen that Form 45 was the slogan of 8th February PTI's whole electioneering. So they knew it, that you are not supposed to sign it in advance. You are not going to leave the polling station till you get one. So if
Right.
they signed it, the fault is with the PTI's polling agent. Why did he or she sign it? Then they gave them, any presiding officer, an opportunity for that polling station result to be managed.
But at the same time, it would also be, I would say the responsibility of the Election Commission to inquire this, whether it was Form
Absolutely.
45,
You see,
42, or what.
I totally agree with you, Nadia. I am surprised. I still expect. I don't know. I'm hoping against the hope that this election needs an election audit more than any election ever, because more than half of the the constituency where National Assembly constituency I'm talking about, where the elections were conducted, the margin of winning and losing candidate, in between them the rejected vote were between 8 to 10,000. That's a huge number when massive voter education has gone in. Why is that? I can even, when I was doing my research, what I could get out was, before 8th February election, there was a time in around December, January, when a TikTok campaign was started by lots of PTI supporters, where they said, since our bat is not there, so no matter where you would stamp, the vote would go to PMLN. So what you should do is, you should write the name of Imran Khan, write bat, put a stamp on it, and then put a stamp on PMLN as well. And I spoke to so many people and said, you are going to have more rejected votes. So I would not say that all of them are there. Definitely there is a fair element of management, but it could also be that those who are who are not literate enough, and they thought that we were told this, I saw this on TikTok, this is right, I'm not going to do it, so I'm going to put a name of Imran Khan or a double stamp.
So is there any law that, access to information, when you say that somebody says rights to the Election Commission of Pakistan, and someone means either a political party or maybe the electoral experts or independent, people who, or the organizations that are watching the elections, that they request the Election Commission of Pakistan that we would like to analyze what exactly happened, why there is so many rejected votes, and what you say that the margin between a winner and the second, and the number of rejected vote is something that surprises you also.
I think this has already been done. This time we did not have EU as electoral observer mission, but it was an electoral subject group mission. Their report also, the others who did that, and FAFEN also, all of them have said that Election Commission should undertake an complete election audit, and FAFEN has gone ahead and even said that involve civil society into it. Human Rights Commission has also asked. Now, civil society or you or me asking for it is one thing, but who has the power to influence it? The power to influence and make it happen rests with the parliament. There is a parliamentary committee on electoral reforms in the parliament, where all political parties have membership. That is the one that led to the Election Act 2017. This led to strengthening of Election Commission. This led to loads of positive, good electoral reform. That's the forum where PTI should engage and ask for election audit, and I don't think any political party would disagree, because once they get into audit, that will close the door for major election management in future. So there is a way, but this has not been raised there, and unfortunately in PTI's time, this electoral reform committee never met.
Okay, and there's another aspect to all of this, the disinformation that we had been all talking about right before the 8th Feb elections. But even in by-election, like we just spoke about, the Form 45, the one that was being circulated, which you identified as Form 42, but by the time you had probably, you must have written on that particular, X handle that this is not Form 45, it must have reached millions of people.
Absolutely.
Right? And so, what opinion you have to have, or you make, you're opinionated and you say, okay, this is a rigged election, like you pass a statement. How do you think that we need to handle this, and how much of disinformation in both the by-election as well on the 8th Feb is what you witnessed?
I would say that, disinformation, we knew it since December. Loads of research, programming, and even the independent observer group, all of them were saying there are two things to be watched in 2024 election. That is a role of a polling agent and role of
Yes.
disinformation. Disinformation played its role to the hilt. And that's where I think PTI takes the cake, because PMLN in PPP does not even come at a second or a third level. They do not have that type of capacity, that type of space, that type of resources and communication, kind of thing, the way quickly PTI comes around and do it. My problem is that, for by-election, again, if you have to shut down the internet all the time, and X, as you know, is being used even by Iranian president, who tweeted via VPN, talks about a lot. And here on one hand, it's so funny. On one hand, we have by-election. Oh, voter did not come out, and we reached out. This is the PML and case in point. On the other hand, Ahsan Iqbal Saab launches National Human Development Report for UNDP in Pakistan, which is on digitalization and digital access and opportunities. And I was like, really? You're talking about that, how much potential you have while internet is closed, even 3G is not available. So that provides, and then, our regulator, that's a very, very slippery slope when we say that can disinformation be curtailed through regulation? No. Because whenever regulation always comes on you and me, it never
Yes.
reaches out to the person. We cannot take a name, we cannot say our accounts or your channels may be suspended, but not for those who are creating that disinformation. So that's a slippery slope. But having said that, the world has kind of created vertical mechanism, involved civil society, educate, but we are very quiet on it. We do not, the internet access is barely 39% in Pakistan. So
Yes.
what can you say?
Okay, so lastly, but one thing I would like to, make a comment and remind our viewers also, that the irony was, Fawzia, that the Election Commission itself was using a VPN to create awareness on the day of by-election. And I was like, hello, you're a government
And
organization and the government imposed ban on
Nadia,
this.
I was also infected when I saw, unfortunately, is my senior, but I have to take name. The Special Secretary Election Commission. There was a footage. Special Secretary Election Commission sitting in the election monitoring control room and checking what's going on, and people can complain on X WhatsApp number. And I was like, hello, there is no mobile connectivity. So we're all living in La La Land, but then the political party, it affects all political parties equally.
Yes.
But then PTI has much more power. They are louder than anyone else, good, bad, ugly. So they should take this up at floor of the house. Each time if you start fighting on can my leader's picture be there or not there, and making silly statements as some of the leaders have been doing. And then have you seen Barrister Gauhar's statement today where they said, we have asked Sher Afzal Marwat to not talk about this and we talk internally. So, there is the vacuum of leadership is showing.
Exactly. That uniformity is not there in order to, relay information. Coming back to the elections, to me, it's quite funny when the Pakistan Telecommunication Authority gives a press release and says that the government, on the request of the government, the mobile and internet services are going to be suspended in areas where the by-elections are being conducted for a smooth, for free, fair and transparent election. So how does it hinder, I would like to say, the process if you have mobile and the internet service on?
You see, it definitely hinders. For me, this time, neither no media house or even Election Commission talked about that. They use that same online and offline new result transmission system that they used for 8th February. Online, of course, was not possible, but did offline work at all? We have not heard anything about it. I've not even seen any puff statement so far. And then say the other was the whole election monitoring was an online mechanism. So how come custodian of holding election in fair, impartial manner, or independent manner they cannot even, when the social when the internet is not there, so what are you doing online? There is nothing online. So that means you're actually standing in 2024 and you want to act as we were in maybe 1990s or 97 and 98 election or something. So that's a, I don't know, it's an irony. It's an irony.
It's an irony, and I think I would like to close on this, that, you know, our neighbors are, having elections. They use a different process. We talk about the EVM machines, but I think now it is just decided. It's not written anywhere, but it looks like it has been decided that every time we're going to be conducting elections, whether it's going to be the general one or a by-election, the mobile and internet services are not going to be provided. So the question, as you put it, will arise: what form of system is the Election Commission of Pakistan now using? Because the result transmission system and all of this requires internet and online service. So I think, you've also raised a lot of questions, like others have, on the Election Commission of Pakistan, which was all-powerful as compared to the 2018 Election Commission of Pakistan, as the parliament had given them more powers. Were they able to exercise? Were they allowed to exercise? Are two questions that needs to be answered. Thank you so much for joining us today, Fawzia. Take care and goodbye.